welcome to the stream. Whoever is out there, it is Psy'Min. I've been playing a little bit since Wednesday, trying to clean up some of these frame dropping issues. It seems like the things that are being the problem is just stuff that's putting a load on the CPU and is making it hard for OBS to do its encoding. Some games seem to be more CPU intensive than others, and it seems to be kind of hard to predict what. For whatever reason, Stick It to the Man is a massive draw on CPU power, whereas other games that you would expect to do it, like Ace Attorney, not so much. So it doesn't seem to be a bandwidth thing. I've been playing a little bit with it. Since Wednesday, I did a few private test streams to see if I could clean things up. I changed things a bit. For one thing, I'm now streaming at not 60 frames per second, but 30. That seems to help a little bit. But we'll see how much it improves. Stick It to the Man didn't do a whole lot better when I was testing with it. Blaster Master was better. This was a bit better, but I'm looking at my CPU load and it's still pretty high. So I'm going to have to fiddle around with that. It may just get to the point where, you know, maybe some of the pros, they have a separate computer for playing and then another computer for running OBS that the gaming PC is running into with some sort of capture card. And that's probably the smart thing to do. It's not what I'm doing because this is a bit of a low budget setup, but it is something I'm going to have to keep an eye on in the future. In the meantime, we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to work with it. We're just going to hope and pray that things cooperate, and I'm just going to do what I can to keep the CPU load down. But in the meantime, we are just going to go ahead and get right into Good Times with Ace Attorney and part 2 of the first trial. This is also the end of the not blind playthrough, because this is the part of the game that I'm actually a little bit familiar with. I forget how the trial ends. I mean, I know who did it, because we figured that out basically at the end of the last part. But I forget some of the finer details, and there's definitely some mysteries that I'm a little unclear on. In the meantime, though, we shall move on and start and get right into it, and hopefully, I mean, I'm looking at the stream and it's already going a little bit on the slow side, but we'll see if it catches up. I'm also streaming a little bit earlier than I used to. Last stream was a bit of a late one, so we'll see if that's a factor as well. So far it looks okay, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get on with it. Oh, man. It's always an adventure when I first start the stream. It's like, what were the voices again? You were a high-pitched one. I'm so sorry, Suzuto. Don't call me that. I should have told you about the toxin. Hiyori. So guilty. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. My voice is not meant for that. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Suzuto? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. Man, all our clients are just dickbags in this series. I had important details from you, Suzuto. I completely betrayed your faith in me. I mean, Imogene is a big liar. Hit me, Suzuto, I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. Have your way with me. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. Call me your little bitch. I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. I remember that part. Suzuto, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I've failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no. I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Those two bailiffs are just listening to this, and it's like, should we tell people that the lawyer's a girl? Should we tell... Hey, Pete, are you listening to this, Pete? Which is why... Oh, sorry, not Pete. Hajime, are you listening to this? Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Haori. Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Drag me through the mud. Throw me across the room. I want to know what it feels like for once. I am usually the one that is doing the throwing. Oh, Susato. Aw, happy face. You know, you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Haori. There's a fanfic about this somewhere. Okay, back to serious music. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. Can we get more details now, please? The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. How? Well now, whatever do you mean? We're kind of going Celeste, Ludenbergy. And then a moment later, I think, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. My God, that hat must be really heavy. She just couldn't take it. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut. You were the only people in the hut at the time. Yes, me and my symbiote. That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. Oh, right. Her and... Gotcha. It sounded weird. It's like, so you and you alone were the only people in the... Anyway. That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly be stabbed like that. A great mystery indeed. Am I the only one that saw the hole in the wall at the back? I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right. However it happened and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you said you saw is true. Also, just a reminder, we're playing with the special DLL that changes all the names back to what they're supposed to be, which unfortunately means that poor Haori's name and some of the evidence doesn't quite jive anymore, but that's fine. We'll see how it jives with the person who actually did it, because I think their initials are supposed to be the same? Or were supposed to be the same, maybe? We'll find out. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? About time. We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Oh, yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory-synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Well, crap. Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. I am going to soak every piece of evidence we have in this shit. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's going to be like Iris with her smoke bomb. Oh, new evidence! Here, let me hear it with the pink smoke. Old school Emma Sky. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive, deadly poison stolen from Yumi Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Suseki were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance there. Oh, she kind of let it. It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Suseki's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Suseki knew about the poison. Yes, and it's highly likely But the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too. That's our suspect. That's the one we're saying did it. Yeah. Mamemomi. Just pick a vowel. Jeez. Mamemomi. Mamamomi. Mamemomi. Just missing the moo. Mamemomi moo. By the way, did that reporter join you when you all went to the beach? Oh. No. I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Nobody invites Jerry. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photo. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police, with a little note saying, "Look at this photograph." Yes, every time I do, it makes me laugh. Counsel, we've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. I have no idea what my voice was before, so I'm just going to talk. I think it was the British guy from the Old Bailey. He just works everywhere. He's just the bailiff. It's time to steal ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo. Oh, yes, that's my name. Don't say it too much, you'll wear it out. Hiyori's put her faith in me now and told me everything. So I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I took a look at a non-spoiler guide, not for actual guidance, but just to see the length. I think this is actually going to be a good length for a part 2. We should be able to wrap this up in a reasonable amount of time, so that should be nice. Hang on a second. I just noticed my phone is unplugged. If there's anything I hate. It's running out of juice on my phone. That's going to make a noise. Yep, there it is. Cool. I have to prove what really happened that day. Hydration. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1. Our favorite place. Hey, stupid. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Hiyori Murasame. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh, this is not going to be good for the defense, judging by my expression. I am going to love telling you this. I am going to rub it in with salt.
Oh? What news? Aw, she just looks so adorable in that uniform, I can't get over it. And why does he look so happy about it? I'm telling you, it's bad news for you.
During recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoma's laboratory at Yumi University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life.
Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. Oh my god, I love the news that came back from this. I'm just going to revel in it.
I had the reagent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there a good time. But judging from the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
Oh, just guess. Oh, just guess what the results were. Do it, just guess.
And counsel, what were the results?
This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, had no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
What? Are you sure about that?
Oh dear God, yes. I'm so smug right now. I would stake the reputation of the police on it. No.
Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. Well, that sucks.
In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. You should really stop slamming yourself against the wall like that. Now, the prosecution is ready to call its new witness.
Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. The one who can't decide on a vowel. Good. Very well. Officer, bring in the witness. Oh, yeah. Memo me memo moo. No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? He's already got ink on his wrist. I wonder if that's going to be a thing.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
I feel like this guy's a little bit bombastic. Like he's just very, I don't know, big personality type. Not like Soseki, who's all over the place. More like a public speaking, I don't know. Ah, they did change his name. I wonder if they changed his name on account of the mod, or if that's just what it's supposed to be. Hey, Heita? Heita. I'm a Heita. Who brought this Heita in here? Alright, so Heita Mamamomi of the Shoyu News. Alright. Yeah, let's be a little bit loud and not flamboyant, not like Soseki. Heita Momomi of the Shoyu News. I am what people like to call a journo. What's a journo, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contradiction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in print for the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so it was you who took this photograph, wasn't it? Come on, admit to it. Well, what have we here? I'm sorry? Ooh, brace yourselves, people! Mamamomi senses a scoop in the offing. Getting kinda metaton in here. Female student up to foul play defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72 point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition. This guy kind of reminds me of Brushel or whatever the hell his name is from Apollo Justice. I feel like those two would get along well. Huh? She's so stunned she's just stuck in her pointing pose. Like, what the hell's going on? Right then, let's start with your name. That's not how the court works, buddy. We question you. Oh, it's Ryotaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? Well, I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Yeah, could you step in and stop this? Ryotaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. Also forgot what he's doing here. I just borrowed Kazama's dream for a while.
By the way, my name is Takatsuchi Aoshi. That's Ta-Ke-Tsu-Chi A-U-Chi in Romanji. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart.
You just keep telling yourself that, buddy. No, the readers won't buy that. Hell yeah, they won't.
What?
Aren't you an airplane? Witness. Yes? What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for the taking of this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my mamamomism. Mamamomism? Can we please just get a normal witness for once? Ah, yes. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki. Yes, right. That was me, Mommy again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that English woman's words had piqued my journalistic interest.
Miss Brett's words.
A criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse dung! Dude, language. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns.
Hey, stay your tongue, young man. These are complex political issues at play.
Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my Momi memo pad. Boy, and I thought Soseki was annoying for alliteration. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here. Right, here goes.
I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast.
Wow, that was a really good impression, wasn't it? A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journo eyes. From start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Memomomi. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. That was a little bit of a confusing sentence. The stream seems a little healthier. It's got some hiccups, but it's livable from the look of it. At least it's an improvement over some of the worst days. The camera never lies. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot.
Reed screens, you say?
Right, you can see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Hotting up? Okay, that's gotta be a misuse.
Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut?
Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens?
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime.
A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. If you could just not badmouth me, please.
Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's Mamamomiism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict.
No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful!
Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question.
What question?
Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why, then, was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
It's Mammomism, somehow. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood.
More pathetic excuses.
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I was so focused on doing the voice, I didn't even bother looking for any consistencies. So I have no idea what it is yet.
There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's a Decepticon. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest.
Well, whatever it is, it must be broken by now, based on the way he's handling his suspenders. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screen, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. All correct so far. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. That's probably going to be problematic. There's probably something that says that's not it. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. That's our review. He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. That's the Decepticon he is. He's Devastator.
But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't he?
If that's how you feel, I suggest that you trust your instincts and press him on everything he's said. As you've no doubt seen done many times before in your role as judicial assistant.
Yes, I have. I've seen witnesses like this pressed often. I know exactly what to do.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at what we got. So he's going to say he pulled apart those screens, stabbed in the back, nothing new there. Nothing particular there. Oh, wait. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the poison, but how do we deal with that? I don't think the article helps right now. I think the timeline is going to be important. I don't remember specifically what he said, but I feel like he says that he saw this and then he grabbed his photo, which doesn't make sense. Oh, this I just got. And this I would have just... Oh, that's the end of my evidence. Dang. Okay, what about this? Dun, dun, dun. Minutes, blah, blah, blah. Alright, well... With nothing else to go on, let's start with the pressing. We're going to press the press.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place?
Call it journo instinct. Can you think of a better reason?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman.
Oh, you degenerate male. I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journo as a voyeur.
It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Can I have those later?
Nope, you've got it all wrong, little student boy.
Sorry?
To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender. Man or woman, it's all news. That's not even mammomism. That's basic journalism.
If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate.
I knew she was going to make a comment to that effect. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? I'll tell the court then, witness. What sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut? A sight that vindicated my journo instinct. That's what? When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her.
Hold it!
So you actually saw Murasami entering the hut?
Yep. And she was raging like my journo spirit. The argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. The student girl walked right up to the English woman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. Okay, now I don't feel bad about any of the jokes I was thinking of earlier. The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. You really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry.
And your temper finally got the better of it, seems. Dear me.
Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife. Throwing the Englishwoman to the floor, she stabbed her in the back.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Huh! The precise moment? I didn't just see that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish.
I have here a simple plan of the beach shot.
Here we go. Give me some more evidence.
Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed.
Uh-oh. And he knows, he's seen us play this game before. He knows as soon as some new evidence gets introduced, it gets thrown right back at him. Wait a minute. How many tie bars is he? Oh, that's just one tie bar on the top of the camera. Okay. That angle confused me. Okay, yeah, it is just one tie bar. Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad. Why did you hesitate? Why did the music die? When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the English woman was on this stool at the back of the hut here.
Yes, the accused's own testimony confirms that.
She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I've noted down here. It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. I have my own book with stuff in it. Oh. Then the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. Boy, that's leading. This guy is a journalist. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. And apparently doing the do-si-do. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other. Immediately, I reported the body, and we threw her in airlock. What you describe is a grim crime indeed. And also incorrect, because she wasn't stabbed in the front. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what memomomism says. There we go. Give me that. Did he specify how she was stabbed? Because it didn't really say that. I mean, they were still facing each other? Did she dodge behind her and stab? It's unclear. By the way, Mamamomi, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? Journos have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor. I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you... Here we go. I still have no idea what's going on, but we'll do it. Mamamomi, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of Mamamomiism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. Look at this tricep workout. Oh, yeah. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer. Okay, well, did that replace? This is what we pressed. Let's see about this. What says that's BS? Can we say the pen? Because, again, it has the same initials. Yeah, so RM. This is supposed to be an HM. Actually, now that I'm here, I'm curious. Let me just pop over to the notes on the mod real speedy quick. Whoops, don't do that. So the name, the original name. Oh, it doesn't say the original name. Okay. I'm assuming it starts with an R. Oh, this is only a slight list of the name changes. Okay, never mind. I mean, I would like to throw this at him, but it doesn't really prove anything because Haori's got the same initials, quote unquote. That doesn't prove it. Is there anything else I can do with this? No. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer. I may have to press a little bit more. I don't see any evidence in here that he was present. Let's press some more. Let's see if there's stuff we need to get. Okay, I think we pressed that. I don't recall if we pressed this. The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. Okay, so this is new. But why then did you choose to post the photograph anonymously to the police? I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. Yeah, you're dodging. I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided not to make a story out of the incident. Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of the sordid, private details of other people's lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basic memoism. It's not something to boast about.
No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done was what motivated you.
That's it! That's brilliant! My burning desire to see something or other exposed! So you were there taking pictures. There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about what he saw, though. By your own admission, you were outside the hut. How then did you manage to take the photograph? Ah, yes, that! I'm glad you asked! Maybe I have to press the new statement. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. Whoops. And then I skipped that statement. But the two women inside didn't notice? Ha! Obviously not! If they had, where would I be right now? In jail, that's where! Which you'd think would make you reflect on what you were doing. No, a journalist's job is to collect little snippets of life as unobtrusively as possible. Leave nothing but footprints. Take nothing but photos. Yes, that's spot on. I'm writing that down. Did he just make that up? Sure did.
The point is, the witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. And this photo reveals the whole truth. There is nothing more to be said.
He seems nervous. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer.
Hold it!
Pressing that. Hopefully this leads to something. Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all. Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared? Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you. Yes. It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hand steady enough to snap the shot. You really should have summoned help before thinking of your camera. Mammomomism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in those instances, mammomomism comes out on top. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. I'm writing that down too. Surely he's making all this up. He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. And we have read that before. So, what do we do now? Common sense tells us that it's the final statement, and even Susato was putting doubt on this. What are we basing that on? The only thing I have that's remotely conclusive is the pen, but the pen also applies to Haori. Is there a symbol on this that kind of ties to... Ah, wait. What's this? It's a symbol. It's not Yumi University. It must belong to some other organization. Is this the symbol on his armband? I know he keeps thrusting it in the camera. It doesn't belong to Haori. Oh! What did that even say before? I don't even know. It seems to say the exact same thing. Okay. Alright. That's kind of what I was looking for. I wish I could turn... Whoa! No, wait. Okay, I want to get a better angle on that guy and see if I can see that symbol on his armband. Aha! There you are, you son of a bitch. Okay, so now we can prove it conclusively because it's not just the initials.
Objection!
Objection! Mammomomi, until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Shoyu News on my arm. Yeah, about that emblem. In a way, that's more Mammomomiism. Sadly, it seems that journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel?
Mammomomi, do you recognize this fountain pen?
Oh!
This pen was... sorry. Very wrong voice. This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brat's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Haori Murasame. Technically, it was Memambi or something like that in the actual translation, so just roll with it. That R is an H.
Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also RM?
No!
Heita Mamomi. RM. Yes, that's how R's are spelt in Japanese. That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of Mamomiism is being a pencil user. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, I was wondering how that was going to factor in, there's a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung! Bonus horse dung! Double horse dung! Mammomomi, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly. Shoyu News wouldn't stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. Susato is just, I'm done with you. Oh, she's got her I got you pose. It's the Ryunosuke pose. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there is another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense would now show the court where the alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. Well, derp-a-derp. The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is... Baboom. Oh, I don't want to look at it. I want to present it. Dad, why doesn't it work the way it's supposed to?
Got it!
Now I got it. Slam him. As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize. Mamamomi. Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Shoyu News. In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News whose initials are RM, or HM today. Suddenly the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Mamamomi, how do you respond? No! My hat's on my face like Jita. Order! Explain yourself, witness. You got a mammy momism for this one? Ha 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 ha. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets? I've used nothing but honest tactics. Stop leaving your trash everywhere. All right then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. What is this music? I'm sorry? An interview? Is there an elephant in here?
You never mentioned these before.
When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing. As we Mamamomiists say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. How many Mamamomiists are there exactly? I guess folks in your family. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meaning between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes. All right. But on one condition. You're not really in a position to negotiate terms here, buddy.
Condition?
In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witnesses. Soseki Natsume.
Soseki?
Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one. It's big. He wet the bed until the 5th grade. Can you believe it? Whoops, I already said it.
What?
What's this all about? Mamamomiism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. What? I can't handle this guy either. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Apparently witnesses can call other witnesses. This court is wonky. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand. Great. Now I have 2 extravagant people on the witness stand. Soseki hiding something? Soseki, what you been doing? No explanation. He just gets dragged up and there's a testimony. He's like, why am I here? Why? What's going on? What's going on? The witness's secret. You're just going to spill beans on Soseki? That's it? I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why Mememomism demands I reveal it now. You mean to say the victim...
The victim regained consciousness?
I mean...
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
That's, true, yes, I may have done that, I suppose. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. Oh, what was the question? Was it just like, who did this?
This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. Why do I have to do everyone's job? This court must and will know the truth, so ask him. Absolutely, Your Excellency. Press everything. Got it. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Hayori somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? And Soseki was a witness? I'm going to throw you across the frickin' room later. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined. So I left the hut without making a fuss. We'll just review things again real quick. Then watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed, and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why Mememomism demands I reveal it now. You are clearly deflecting. Poor Soseki has been fidgeting constantly in the stand next to Momomi, which is to say he's acting like himself. Yes, like a naughty child who's waiting for punishment from his parents. It rather reminds me of you when you were younger. I was like that? Never mind that now. The question is, how far can we trust this reporter's account of events? We must focus our energies on gathering information and establishing facts. Yes. There's that screen getting choppy again. Am I going to have to upgrade something? I think I might. I'm about due for a new computer anyway. I built this thing like 8 years ago, maybe? Actually, yeah, almost exactly 8 years ago. Damn. Alright. Goals for later. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Did you now? You asked her for an interview, you say? Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident she was involved in at the end of last year. About the case in which Dr. John H. Watson, not Wilson, lost his life? That's not the way I phrased it. Mememomism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Watson, not Wilson, is how I put it to her. Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler. Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. And how did Miss Brett answer? With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Whew, that told me, so I waltzed right out of there. Really? Something about that doesn't seem to quite fit together. Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. That's just going to be the theme for this testimony, the things the veteran at the paper taught you. I'm not sure how we're going to... The way that conversation went, it seemed fishy, but I'm not sure if we have anything to press it with yet. Well, let's keep going. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed, and the other witnesses come running. That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away. Persistence wins the prize. Any memomist will tell you that. Let them think you've left. Then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop.
And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. Though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence.
Actually, it's thanks to that photo that we managed to identify this witness. And now that you've found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide. I'm sure.
Please do go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say.
Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help.
Hold it!
And so Seki remained behind in the hut. That's right, yep. Our author friend here was a blabbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging, actually just like he's doing right now. I don't think he ever actually stops. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me while traveling abroad. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Back behind baleful bars. They'll be coming for me, surely. You should be thankful you're alive, dude. The Reaper curse should have taken you out by now. That's all I could think. I felt as though I was gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat. Poor Soseki. His experiences in London have scarred him deeply. As the world seemed to close in around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me, surely. No sutras are to resound in my courtroom, please. This is a secular court. Also, if you could please stop doing yoga. And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question.
Hold it!
You still don't know what the question is. Could someone just say it? What question? What exactly did he say? Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Writer Man? Ah!
Now with it, you yokel hack.
Hey, Soseki ain't no yokel hack. You take that back.
What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying English woman? What did you say to my girlfriend?
Well, in truth, I'd be catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Hiyori. I ran up to the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim, astride her, you could say. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin. But what did you ask her, Soseki? I asked her, who did this to you? As I thought, all right. The natural question. Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But Meme Momimu is going to have something to say about that. When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or recitance, I demand that you amend your testimony. Or reticence. Reticence. I will. I asked her, who did this to you? But she never replied. Oh, does that replace the... Yeah. Alright, well, we'll just keep going in order then.
Hold it!
So you tried to find out who the culprit was. He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever.
However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct?
Mama Momi said she did respond. How? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stoop and my mustache. Because I'm Japanese. Oh dear. Soseki has really developed his dislike for the English, it seems. Having read the report in his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. But the Englishwoman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Writer Man? Well, yes. I mean, alright, she did respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. How many statements... Oh, that overrode our other fifth. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant. We couldn't have heard about this ages ago. Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Soseki, is that really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? A giant hand appeared and extended from her and pointed at the culprit behind her, which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. No. Soseki, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? Yeah, no shit. But, fiddlesticks, I say. This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. The all caps must be English. I wasn't catching on to that. Yes, of course. The Englishwoman did point her finger toward the hut. But I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps maybe she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. Oh, Momomomi's not gonna like that. To somewhere at the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. I'm very, very unclear.
Objection!
Well, clearly she was pointing at Mamomemi, Mumi Mamama.
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing.
Bull honky. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Horse dung.
It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I'm inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial. No, I got thrown against the back wall again, that hurts. The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers' hopes dashed, 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susanoo. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need. Well, she was pointing to past the defendant. That kind of tells me she was pointing at the dude.
Hiyori gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Hiyori? Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
We've already got this. Come on. It's just a question of what evidence proves it. I take it then the defense has nothing further to add.
So the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I am ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim?
I mean, I feel like I know how. I don't know how we're going to prove it, but I have a...
Objection!
If I say the other thing, we're done.
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being.
Oh? To what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. And an alternative spelling for the word defense, because, God, that's annoying. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternative theory? Huh! None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
What?
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction! Fantasy!
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternate theory. So, young Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency. That's my name.
You'll present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed? Well, probably back here. I want to say on an angle because that's when the picture was taken, but it says at the moment the victim was stabbed, so probably there.
Take that!
Behind that crack we saw earlier.
Naruhodo would never give up.
And I'm a Naruhodo now. Just like people who study Memomomiism become Memomomius, I'm a Naruhodo. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Brett was concealed in this location here. Are you mad, counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut.
What?
Order, order, order. The thing's made of reeds, guys. Come on. But student lawyer Naruhodo Esquire, this makes no sense at all. Wait, don't I know you? You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about. I can swear to that. Put two and two together, you bastards.
Yeah, obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there is no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut.
Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way.
Wrong voice.
And in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing. You're totally bluffing, you yokel.
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. We can't figure out this mystery, even though Simon's been talking about it since, like, last stream. You will need to give us more guidance, Counsel. You will need to be a guidance counselor. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut? Do I want to say this picture? Because it proves that you could, like, stick an arm through easily enough. That could be it. That could also be it, because there is that crack back there. I feel like that's pretty conspicuous.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
I don't think anything is here that's helpful. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut? I feel like either of the two photographs could work. I got a lot of health, so let's just go ahead and throw something out there. We'll try this one. If not, we'll try the other photograph. If not, well, then I'm going to be confused. There we go. That looks right. The original photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. A trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Objection!
Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing.
I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to. Counsel, once again I must call on you to be explicit for the court. Again, we're stumped by this. We don't know what you could possibly be talking about. Could you please point it out for us? I'll get right on it for your stupid judge ass.
Take that!
Look closely just here. Dun dun dun! In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds. Or something.
No, I can't. I can't see any such thing.
Your glasses are worthless. It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. This is extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Ah! And of everyone present at the scene, there's only one person who could have done that. But I didn't see anybody. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Heta Mama Momi, it could only have been you. Huh? What? I'm just going to stand like this for a bit.
Objection!
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. So speechless I skipped my text. What the hell did I just say? Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume as part of this farcical scenario that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. That would be cool, though.
We're not?
If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. God, Hosanagi, you look ridiculous.
A stool?
Have another look at the photograph. The slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So in fact the victim was killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen.
No.
Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut, before the defendant, Murasame's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. There's no way we're done. Not a chance. We've actually been going for almost an hour and a half. I'm surprised. By your silence, Mamamomi, I take it that you don't deny the charge. Oh, I'm just getting ready. I'm charging my objection to the charge. Like a Mega Buster.
Yes, this is absurd.
I wonder how long I can balance my hat like this. Anyone want to take bets? That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of the matter, which means that the defendant, Murasame, is innocent of the crime. Oh, we're not done yet. Come on. There's no way. Oh, thank goodness. This is very anticlimactic if we were. I finally made him cave. I must say, I've never been more proud.
No, this cannot be. The Ouchie clan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope? It wasn't all an apparition. I really can't accept this. I won't.
Mamamomi, come on, speak up. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. Boy, you pivot fast there, don't you, buddy? 5 seconds later, I see no reason to continue this trial. Clearly she's guilty. Are we going to have a reveal of an evil personality? Are we going to have a breakdown? Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals? Yeah, pretty much. But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut through the reed screen walls. And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now.
Irrelevant?
Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. There's a new pose. So Seki sees the camera panning in the background. It's like, oh, the camera's over there now. Brace yourselves, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed because of the dirt you dug up.
What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course.
The poison?
Well, let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett, is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she'd been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood. I couldn't have killed her. She was already dead.
How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom in whose back and with whose blade.
I don't know. I feel like it matters a bit.
Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Objection!
But it's not. But it's not on the blade. Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever.
So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turned out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? I'm about to hit the wall again, aren't I? Yep. Not fun. Even when I know it's coming. Order. But where does this leave us? Yeah, see, this is the part I'm confused about. I'm not sure if I ever got to this part of the trial or heard about it. Like, why? Even if you wanted to kill Giselle, why would you stab her if you already knew she was dying? And if you didn't know she was dying and that poison got in somehow else, who did that? We got some more questions here. How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it.
You mean she drank it?
Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, a bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked over onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either.
So someone made Miss Brett drink it.
Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This would make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about?
Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you.
Me? What on earth does he mean?
Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. Are we having another cross-examination? I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. I'll take that as a yes. That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. It is pretty magnificent, I must say. Like, look at it. It's like a bunch of little tiny tree trunks. You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a journo and I'm a man. I never try to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now because that's mamamomyism.
Would you shut up about your stupid religion? For a brief moment I thought I had eliminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
Again, I'm not sure how this works. Complete innocence. Oh, break it out to do animations. Wait, what? Okay, that's an intro. Oh, I needed to read that a couple of times. Oh, yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman. And it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. I couldn't have murdered her. I murdered her a different way. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? Hang on, I'm digesting this. Of course I stabbed her, but why would I bother stabbing her? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. I haven't seen it in 3 days. If the court weren't going to punish Brett for what she'd done, someone else would have to see the justice done.
The hell? So you admit it then, that everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the reed screen?
You can blame this miserable country of ours. Oh, he's going to get on his soapbox here. Still, I mean, come on. It's just, surely we can charge you with something. You just admitted to stabbing someone in the back. They were alive when you stabbed them. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free? What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap back in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there, but totally not a murderer. Definitely innocent. Stabby, stabby. As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information to my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. I mean, yes, if that's how you want to spin it, but you still did a bad. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. Want to be murder buddies, little lady?
You're implicating Hillary again.
She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap! This journo here is off the hook. I question your logic, sir. The argument is sound, certainly. I'm sorry, what? If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. She got double murdered! Subsequently stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical.
And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with the poisoning. He certainly had a lot to do with the murder, mostly due to the fact that he admitted to stabbing someone in the back with a knife. That's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last.
This is unbelievable. And after I've made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now?
I mean, technically, he's not disagreeing with what we've asserted. The question is, where did the poison come from? Naturally, it's going to say it came from the pen, but how are we going to connect those dots?
Game face, Suzuto. I don't want to hit the back wall again. Think of Kazuma and Naruhodo. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel.
Bang! Oh, there's the final gavel. I'm screwed. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial.
Yes, Your Excellency. I got this.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to press everything because, again, he's admitting to what we charged him with. We just don't have a way to time to the poisoning. Review time. Oh, yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's this very fact that proves I'm innocent. There's a screenshot. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done.
Saseki, why are you still up here?
Well, am I going to have to pursue Saseki for something? I have a feeling that's going to come up. If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, the reporter would have had no reason to stab her. On the face of it, that logic sounds entirely reasonable. He's still a murderer, or at least an attempted murderer. He's just not the one that murdered her first.
But there's no question that this man was responsible for Miss Brett's murder. One of them.
If we could think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her even after the poisoning, I feel sure that everything would drop into place, and that's what we should be looking for.
Yes, I agree. And in order to do that, I must try to glean more information.
Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's this very fact that proves I can't stop laughing at this statement. It's like, guy, I need you to take a step back. I need you to really think about this this collection of English that you've strung together here, and the meaning that it carries, if you don't mind.
Hold it!
So you do admit that you had murderous intention toward Miss Brett then?
Oh, hell yeah! The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice. Sparkling justice.
Your sense of... he's claiming some sort of righteous indignation?
Where's my anime mask? She was pure evil. A cold-blooded killer who'd committed murder right here on our empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance. So I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice. Put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it.
So in summary, murderous intentions then?
Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. That Englishwoman was a blight, so I had to do what was right for society. We live in a society.
Yet the real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay.
Basically, Giselle Brett was murdered twice, but one of us is getting off scot-free and the other one is going to jail. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That logic doesn't flow. Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her?
Hold it!
So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim?
Obviously. That'd be like putting a belt in your trousers when you were already wearing bracers like these. Let me stretch them for you again.
Well, the accused administered the poison, following which this witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. He was too late. He should have murdered her quicker. That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, yokel. Who knows, you may even learn something here today.
You're all crazy. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning. That's not the kind of law this court upholds. And precisely my point. If you guys did your jobs, would I have needed to do this? No. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim then, witness. Is this a new statement or the same one? Nope, it's the one about getting the goat. Yeah, we got that. It got my goat. Did they ever find your goat? What exactly were they arguing about? Goats! After what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the English woman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Watson, not Wilson. Yes, Dr. Watson, not Wilson. A professor of medicine, invited here from England by Professor Mikotoba, no less. Right, but the English woman just jeered.
Her case was to be heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai. However, there is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland, a free woman.
Oh, now you're on my side with this. I was eating that student girl up and it was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I wasn't eating her. That's inappropriate. I really felt for her. Is this Haori? Is she going to join the witness stand?
I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. Haori, young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whatever you feel like it. Women speaking in the court? How absurd.
No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just to keep quiet and listen. Get back in the kitchen.
But this awful man is making all of this up. Susato, please, you have to make them listen.
Susato? Who's Susato? There's no Susato here. Return to the dock at once, Murasame. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. I don't know who Susato is, but that journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly. He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, dirty, great peeping Tom.
Whoa, take it easy there.
Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. Why are women even allowed to speak here in the first place? They're not, that's right.
I will grant the request of the defense.
But Your Excellency! Wait, that worked?
This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. Just so the player knows. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. We're getting testimony added? Surely that doesn't end the previous testimony.
Oh. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Ow, I just banged my head. It was nothing to do with Dr. Watson, not Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
Alright, when I heard the student girl, I got my goat. Alright, we already talked about getting your goat. Let's just keep going.
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Watson, not Wilson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. What were you going to use that for, by the way? Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. That's true. I pestered Professor Mikotoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we'd developing, you see. And since Soseki expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. I'm guessing that when it's in all caps like that, he's screaming in English. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually. Ah, yes. Mamamomi, one small question if you don't mind. I do mind! Can't you see I'm busy? I'm doing the crossword puzzle. Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening in while the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote this article about what you'd heard. Maybe. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yumi Medical Research Facility. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, look at this. The entire article. It's almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word.
Oh, crap.
Well, Mamamomi?
I mean, who else could have written it? As a journo, and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of Mamamomiism. I'm not sure it's a founding principle of Japanese law, though.
Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut.
So that article came out after. I wonder why that needed to change.
So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her.
Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record. Just keep adding statements, you silly, silly man. Very well, you may amend your formal testimony. Oh, he's starting to get... Man, all that tricep workout is starting to get to me. Getting to where my max reps here. The point is, if you've poisoned someone, there be no reason to then go and stab the person as well. That replaced our other fifth.
Hold it! Perhaps you doubted the efficacy of the poison and sought to make sure that your victim would die.
That's horse dung for the pile.
What?
That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you've even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although, it might surprise you to learn that I am a bit of an impetuous pepper pourer as it happens.
Once the victim has taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There had to have been a good reason for that.
It's like in Killer Instinct when the combo just keeps going even after the person is dead. If it was the reporter who gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it prior to Hiyori entering the hut.
Yes, that's undeniable.
But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change in the situation.
Sorry? What change?
The reporter overheard the conversation between Hiyori and the Englishwoman.
Ah, yes, that's it. That's when Mamamomi first found out the exact nature of the poison. That could be the key here.
I thought it'd be something like that, but I'm not sure how to string that together yet. If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, the reporter would have had no reason to stab her. On the face of it, that logic sounds entirely reasonable. Also reasonable to skip through all this because we've read it before. Alright, I'm going to say that we probably want to press statement 5. Because that was the last one we got. That's kind of how these games work. The newspaper got updated. Surely that's going to mean something. The reporter Mamamomi based it on information he gleaned by eavesdropping. Is there something new in here or something that would indicate knowledge gained afterward or something like that? Poison was stolen. Dun dun dun. Doesn't prove a whole lot. Blah, blah, blah. Death would have occurred within minutes. I feel like it's got something to do with this, because maybe he wanted to prevent... Maybe get this back and some. Did he steal it for her and then betray her, or was this an entirely different, separate thing where he wasn't even? The two of them weren't even involved. Huh. I kind of want to present the pen, but I don't really have a clear, definitive line I can draw. It says that's for sure it. The newspaper might be too, but I'm not sure what's in it that would prove my point. It just talks about the poison. It doesn't give a reason why you need to stab someone who's been poisoned. I'm assuming that the conversation was going a way he didn't like and he needed her to shut up or to stop her from blabbing about the fact that she didn't steal the poison, because then it would come back on him as maybe he's the one who stole the poison. I don't have much evidence that I got a lot of health, so I feel like it's this or the pen. Let's go with this for now, because let's see. Blah blah blah. Deadly poison, all this fun stuff. Yeah. Well, let's give it a bash.
Objection!
Yeah, that was it. Okay. I figured it was that or the pen. Let's see what lines she draws for me. Well, I can think of one reason. What? What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Okay, so maybe there was a slip of the tongue that was in that article that I just didn't notice and I just got lucky. If that's the case, I have no idea what it is. Of course he did. There can be no question of that. After all, we were all alone. We were all in the laboratory together. All we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to this witness, Murasami's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. So, in other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Possibly, maybe.
Where are you going with this, counsel?
Mamamomi has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Oh, is that the argument we're making? That's a stretch. Blah, blah, blah. Secret poison. Blah, blah. Mentions ways of entry. I guess so. Ah! Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Murasame entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Mamamomi overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained.
I guess that makes sense, that information it had to come from somewhere. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it.
I'm sure it's terrifying.
There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. Why is everybody working on poison in your university? In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life has been ended by the use of that particular poison. Have you ever seen Assassin Classroom? Which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Murasame being no exception.
Oh yeah, what about Giselle Brett? Want to talk about what happened 9 months ago, Dad? Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties.
Is this where we're going?
In other words, someone like you, Hada Mamamomi.
I'm just going to keep calling him a Hada.
It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim.
Okay, so this is how we're going to connect the dots to the fact that he was the one who stole it.
But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused some unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learned of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen. But what good could that possibly do? Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected.
This is extraordinary.
Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do by plunging a victim into the middle of the victim's back. Plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back.
Grunt, grunt. I want to see if I can beat my old hat balancing record. What do you think? What do you think? Order, order. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward? Probably not.
Well, there are a number of... yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows, oh crap, that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his topknot, he is clinging to lost hope. Oh, can you say that without the low blow?
Here we go, the Hail Mary. What you got, Mama Momi? Make it good. Oh, or just get mad. Ah, you pathetic, useless, fallen samurai.
Fallen? What are you calling fallen?
My burgeoning... I don't need a counter-argument. What are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say? Gave it to the victim, you say? Stabbed her, you say? Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Gonna be the pen. Gotta be the pen. Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. I work for CNN, damn it. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Shoyu News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open? See, I, Heita Mamamomi, a mere reporter from the Shoyu News, couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. I was about to call hitting the wall, but then I hit the wall. But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? What are you doing later? My point is this. There is one way that you, Mamamomi, could have stolen the poison that day. So is that it? We're going to wrap up that quick? I guess that's what I was hoping for. I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. About time. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question? Okay, do I need to examine this again just for the sake of being a... No, I think I examined all this already. Okay, let's just throw it out there. If I lose health, I lose health.
Take that!
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Ah, I got it. Okay. What? A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. And my god, have you seen how many strokes a kanji character uses? I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago. Well, then they shouldn't be special at that point. 15 years ago. They're almost as old as you are.
Bah! I swear by a weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. Those newfangled pens are merely a fad.
Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a spookon of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That was a new pose. He's about to break his own neck. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later.
What is all this talking of sucking up ink of... Oh, crap baskets.
And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word, can this really be... Well, Mamamomi, are you ready for your 360 no-scope? When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. No! I'm just going to balance an invisible hat now.
More absurdity. That never happened.
True, we've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? Please back me up here, Father. Please back me up here, Father. No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would have not been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died.
In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Mamemomi. It's got your little logo on it and everything. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act while the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison for it into her glass. There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by whatever outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink?
What?
As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's gas. Starting to lose it. Is that it? Do we have no more Hail Marys? Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? Whoa! So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? The way it's supposed to? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? Oh my god, he's Wolverine. He's CL from Melty Blood. I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. This isn't even my true form. What? Where did those go? You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. I mean, well, don't we already know there's still poison in it? Because I'm pretty sure it said there was some there. Let's take a looky look. Da-da-da. Maybe I'll get a little more info that I didn't get before. I can't remember looking at this. Okay, I did look at it. Reservoir that holds the ink. Something wrong. No ink. Oh, I thought there were trace elements of something in there. Well, we can hit it with the reagent, I guess. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish the matter. As I see, the situation was something I skipped. It's now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist! Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Mamemomi, this is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you. Shit's getting serious. Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. Is it going to be the reagent? Because then we get to test the pen. The defense can prove by means of this item that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison. I mean, it has to be this, right?
Take that!
Nothing else makes sense. Counsel, what is that bottle? This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
What?
Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other means. Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anyone could offer check for traces of the poison. As a reagent? What? Oh, crap. One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Mamemomi, is all it will take to solve the case beyond all reasonable doubt. Oh, no, you can't. I won't. Hayori, throw him. Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. Oh, here we go. Oh my god, he's become Thor. Alright, whenever you break the clipping thing doing your jogging, you go right. Oh, yeah! Suzuto with me! Oh, yeah! Did I do it right? That was a Suzuto takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown. Oh yeah, right. Sorry. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. Did it turn like green or something? No, we're just going to take the word. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out completely. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Mamamoni. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journo like me to pass up.
Then why did the Englishwoman end up dead?
I went into that hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purports to practicing journalism.
Oh. Yeah, that racism is kind of triggering there, Giselle. You might want to rein that in a bit.
Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways. You ignorant plebeian.
Well, what did you call me?
This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate. Get out of here, you oaf. Go on, and crawl back into the cave you came from.
What? That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my heart, I know I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her see. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse for it. I suppose it was my journo spirit getting all fired up. And that's how we wrap things up, eh? Yeah, that's a nice clean two-parter. I'll take it.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yes?
You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought.
There's no justice in the press.
Sorry?
After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was.
A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say.
No, wait, this is important.
Oh, come on. Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national?
consular jurisdiction should never come into it. And yet that puffed up English woman was going to sail away into the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice did I have but to see that justice was done myself? So I decided to become Wolverine as a vigilante for justice. Let's not forget, Mamamomi, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. Yeah, I thought there was going to be more. It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. That's what I love to hear, because it means I get to go pee in a minute. Counsel for the defense, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Oh, right, that's me. Why are my eyes still darting around? I won. Yes. Sorry, Your Excellence. Just musing in a manly way here. Just curling some dumbbells. Yes. As a man would. It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. Oh, ouchie. How much more hair are you about to lose? In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Naruhodo. Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago. Through pure guesswork. And the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land. Well, now I'm getting all the compliments, it seems. That's very flattering, Your Excellency. Can we let women do this now? Hearing the defense you put forward today makes me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Thank you. So, Prosecutor Ouchie, are you prepared to lose some more hair? Do you have any final thoughts? I was about to ask who in this place still had a sword, but it looks like he's about to commit follicle seppuku. And you know what? I ain't going to stop him. Prosecutor Ouchie? The hell is that?
I, Takatsuchi of the Ouchie clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. I'm not fit for hair. If there any shred of my former self left, it is withered and died here today.
Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Also, I'm a girl. Does that make you feel any worse? Because I want you to feel worse.
Silence!
Oh, here we go.
Rather than living on in shame.
Okay, is that going for the hair or for your throat?
I will end it all now with this blade. For that is the true path to Ouchieism.
Oh. All right, look at what you started, Moby. Ouchieism? Sounds painful. One hopes that the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. No. Did I say that wrong?
Sprig of my topknot. The time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi.
The time is right for farewell. Hope is lost. Yeah, that's a haiku. Well done. Do it. Do it. Yeah. There it goes. I've ever mentioned how happy I am that my dad had a very full head of hair, and I have absolutely no worries about ever going bald, no matter how old I get, because it is freaking awesome.
I want to say a prayer for Ouchie's 3 frickin' strands just sailing off into the audience box.
That was actually kind of gross.
Now, in regards to the defendant, Haori Murasame,
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you guilty of assault because you threw that guy across the room. Not guilty of the main thing, though. Turns out you didn't do either of the murders on her.
I got to watch her get murdered, though, and that was fun.
Court is adjourned. Wrap up time. 5-hour trial.
It's over. I can get back in my kimono. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo? Suzuto!
I'm guessing that's Haori. Well, it's both of them.
Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Haori and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm gonna cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too.
Someone's calling me, but I'm going to ignore them because I'm almost done with this stream and I don't want to interrupt it.
The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Haori, so I would have to say that the congratulations belongs to you. Okay. Suzuto, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal, super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Let's get wasted. I'm buying the sake. Caution to the... What? Did you pick that up from Wilson, not Watson? No, Watson, not Wilson. I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryotaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. I'll think about it, Haori.
What the hell is a milk bar? Do you really go to a bar to drink milk, or is this just Ace Attorney replacing all the wine with grape juice again?
At any rate, we have really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. And it felt so good. Can we throw more people? Yes, it was satisfying. We could absolutely go throw more people. It really was. Is there anyone else we could throw together? I was going to joke about throwing your dad, but now the game seems to be suggesting it. You know what? I'm kind of for it.
I hope you're not looking at me, Haori.
Oh, no. Of course not. I would never suggest such a thing.
Unless...
Ah, there it is at last. Haori's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense Attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Can I get out of these clothes now? Seriously. Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Where's my kimono? Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now. So I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame.
Who are you? Is this Soseki? Yep. And Hosanaga's here as well. What is happening? Stop yelling in English. No one understands. Well, actually, a couple of us understand you.
Ah, Soseki and Inspector Hosonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well. Is that really you?
Oh yeah, they're just finding this out for the first time. That's why they're freaking out.
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me, Susato Mikotoba. I don't. So dashing, so fine. Want to go to a milk bar later? No! I'm taking her to a milk bar. Doubly dashing, yes, and yes, devilishly divine. More alliteration, just look at you. I had no idea, Mr. Sato Esquire, that you were locum student Naruhodo Esquire's cousin. I shall break my own neck in shame. Astonishingly astounding, Ace Attorney! Walk like a Soseki. Poor Soseki, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Soseki was free to return to Japan. And he hasn't died yet, which is actually kind of weird. We're taking bets on to when it's going to happen. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author. Man, imagine how famous he's going to be when he dies. I'm stunned. That's truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea. And I'm a chief investigator at the police bureau. Who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I mean, look at my brilliant turtle costume.
I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector.
Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. Seriously, that offer about the milk bar is still open. I work there as a waiter. Just two, really, and this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you. I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. I'm not a patch on you? What? Well, I am a professional, of course. Well, she's saying she doesn't compare to his disguise skills. I don't know about that. I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do. Mostly his sanity. 9 months ago when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. That disguise was much better. And then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. That one was okay. Well, that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma? Now you just look stupid. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now that the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year. Oh, yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Watson, not Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, well, why did she kill him? Was it because his name was on that list? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, look at that name, all spelled right and stuff. Damn, that looks good. The great detective, I mean. Not Sherlock Holmes, not that guy. I remember him. Oh, my arch nemesis. How lightly you utter his name in my presence. Well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which I have memorized, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Watson. What? Dr. Watson, not Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago. Whoops. Quit changing faces, game. It's confusing me. Must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Holmes. Damn, I had a frog in my throat. Sorry about that. God, I sounded old. And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was about the time you were born. Yes, grandmother told me about it. On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yumi University. But I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Wait, do you know about this stuff? Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan?
Yeah, remember that, guys? He's supposed to be sick. I wonder how many of you picked up on that.
It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you collapsed with a high fever and that you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know. Because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
What did you get up to, Mikotoba? Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Suzuto? I'm sorry, my dear, I simply can't. Well, I was going to take a guess at who that was, but he was probably going to be one of my top picks anyway. Mamba Bobby! Oh god, he's got a knife run!
So, one throw wasn't enough for you? Out the window!
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor.
Me?
I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. Oh, damn. And that visiting student's fate.
Visiting student?
Visiting student? Giselle? No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
What? Student of law? He must mean Kazuma. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Oh! Dude, what? What? Okay. He's here now. Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. Is everyone just learning judo from watching Suzuto? What were you officers playing at? Yeah, you guys suck. Oh, terribly sorry, Your Excellency. Wait. How'd the British guy get in here? Oh, we get to see the judge chilling out. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw had arrived, Eugen, and it's a good job I came by. You guys are up to something shady. And we're gonna I'm really looking forward to finding out what's actually going on here. Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency.
Ha ha ha. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Shishiro Jigoku. Shishiro Jigoku. Shishiro Jigoku. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance, Suzuto. Oh, did he know the whole time?
Did you know all along from the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Suzuto. I couldn't let you take the risk. If Shishiro here hadn't known and then he'd recognized you. So I hadn't a word in his ear beforehand. He's an old friend. So, Shishiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably. And we never saw him again.
Oh, thank you very much.
What do you think of my Shishiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. This is just a national pastime in Japan, tossing people around. Ha ha ha. Did Dad learn that from you and then he taught it to Suzuto? Okay.
Whatever could Father be hiding from me?
Why is everyone walking around with katanas? We can just throw people around all the time.
About Giselle, Brett. About Dr. Watson, not Wilson. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime, when nobody else is around.
Uh-oh. Do you know a thing or two? Could I, have a word?
Oh, yes, of course, Soseki. What is it?
I think perhaps it could be
Fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back to England. This I have to hear. Please, Soseki, tell me at once. Oh, it's that music kicking in again. We haven't heard that in a bit. I will in English. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruhodo Esquire stepped in. Wasn't there a fifth word in there somewhere? After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikitoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report. My father? He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you asking to return to Japan. What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in? I don't really know exactly. But do you remember that? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in?
So there was another case. I think we're going to have a flashback case to something else that he got taken up in, which makes it even more impressive that he survived, because if he got found innocent twice while being prosecuted by the Reaper, he should have just exploded on the spot.
Of course, I could never forget. Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case.
Yeah, the case we don't know, which we're probably going to do next.
The one Mr. Holmes forbade any of us to talk about in public.
Oh, you guys are just going to build up the suspense like crazy, aren't you?
Yes, the one we shouldn't be talking about. Let's talk about it.
Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the keys to all these curious unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings.
Is this going to be about the Garrett household, and we're finally going to go back to those two folks that we saw for like 5 seconds in the first game? Because I know they come back up.
That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan? I thought that whole business was over. But it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
A cinema. Okay.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness.
Again, why are you Irish?
And having stood in
Scottish,
the
I
Supreme
should
Court
say.
now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san.
I don't know, that accent just seems wildly inappropriate. I know I'm one to talk, considering every single
But
one of my
actually,
accents is terrible.
I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Susato. So next trial is going to be a flashback case from the sound of it. From Naruhodo's point of view. Is Susato going to be there as well? Because this will probably be a trial that happened before Gina's case then. It would have to have been, right? Achievement. Susato's success. And now we are in the memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. So before it was the adventures of the Clouded Kokoro, I think that was case 4.
I wonder what that's going to be about, but I guess we don't get to find out until next week. And I am really looking forward to that. So I'm also looking forward to watching the playback of this video. I hope things turned out a little bit better. I may have to start keeping an eye out for games that are eating up a little too much of my CPU. But at the same time, like I was saying before, it's probably time for a new computer anyway. So we'll see if we can get on that. If I had more viewers, I'd try to do some sort of donation drive, but that sure as hell ain't happening. So I'll just have to earmark some dough for it. But we'll get that squared away. And one way or another, drop frame rates or not, Case 2. Next week. And I'm going to have to make some new thumbnails because I need to update the thumbnails for this entire game. I haven't made any for Resolve yet, so that's going to be a little chore for this weekend. In the meantime, though, a lot of things are going to be the usual for next week. Terraria on Sunday. Next trial starts on Monday. I believe that, yeah, that's right. New Hypnosis video on Tuesday. Going to finish Stick It to the Man on Wednesday. Even though it is killing my frame rate, I'm going to see what I can do to minimize that as much as possible. Because I do want to finish it. It is a fun game. I've been enjoying myself. I really wish it would run better in the stream because one of the big appeals to it is its graphic style, and when it's running at a slow frame rate, it's really not doing the animation justice, but we'll plow through it and again just kind of live with it for now and expect things are going to continue to get better as the channel progresses. Ace Attorney will be twice next week. The next one will be on Friday. I might do some other stuff, but going into October, we're going to start picking up some horror games. So Corpse Party is definitely on the docket. I've never played that game. I look forward to actually going through it. Might be playing a Resident Evil. There's a couple of other things I might be picking up. There's a few other ideas I have. Obviously, Great Ace Attorney will continue as well, but otherwise, yeah. Oh, and I will probably be trying to do some Melty Blood when it comes out, because I'm really looking forward to Melty Blood coming out in less than a week now. I think the full roster has been announced, and yeah. I don't think fighting games do too well as far as analytics go, as far as viewership goes, but I like fighting games, and I'd like to play one every now and then, just to pop in and, you know, do some ranked, whatever. We'll see. Anyway, take care. Have a great week. Talk to you guys later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The more you guys comment and interact, the more I know what you guys like, the more things I'm going to do that you guys are going to enjoy, and yeah. I'll see you guys later. Watch Twitter for that schedule. Take care.